Hey, everybody, I'm Jody-Vance.
Hey, and I'm George-Affleck.
And we have so much to catch up on, so much to unpack, so much to unspin and look forward to. It is time for.
UnSpun.
Welcome back, my
What? Why?
friend.
What's the? Yeah, thank you very much. Not much has happened, right? Since we did it,
Where
since
have
we
you
met
been,
in
George?
December. I
Where,
mean, we took a
where have
break.
you
I went to Mexico for a little vacation, friend's birthday party. There's 30 of us there at this. I've never done an all-inclusive before. Yeah, I'm torn.
been? Yeah.
But a lot of Albertans there and a lot of Americans.
Oh,
Interesting conversations that I would listen into. You'd be in the pool and you're kind of like listening to these. And more often than not, the Albertans were like talking about how great America was and Trump was, and Americans were just staying silent and not saying that. There was a couple of Minnesotians. Is that what it?
Minnesotans. I love a
Minnesotans.
Minnesotan. Yeah.
It was, and we're like, oh, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. What'd they say?
They just say, ah, it's tragic. It's tragic.
Yeah.
It's not just in the city. They live in the suburbs. They were seeing the ice out there. It's said it's everywhere, everywhere.
Okay, we're gonna get into all of that. Okay, we are
Mhm.
going to hopefully if we can unpack everything fast enough, but we got to start here in Canada, obviously, or more technically, I guess we got to start in Davos,
Yes.
because at the World Economic Forum, who knew? Who knew that Canada would be trending worldwide after Mark Carney steps up and delivers this speech that I happened to watch live. I hit
hmm
record immediately. I started like, oh my gosh, this is something. This is something. And then we learned that he actually wrote it, which is highly unusual.
Yes. I mean, I always wrote my speeches.
But you're
They were
special,
they
George.
were
And you're like
stellar.
Mark Carney special.
It is hard to write a speech, and kudos. I mean, he's been around long enough to know how to write, but it is very unusual for a politician to write their speeches, especially at that level. You usually have a
Yeah.
team of people, and they go through it, and then they do their own little things to it. But because, it's hard to read a speech if it's just like when you're an anchor, right? You before you go on air, you got to read through the stuff. You can tell
You
the
rewrite it.
anchors,
Yeah.
you can hear the anchors who don't read the stuff before they go on air. So it's because it was in some ways it was like a very, it was there's no Obama like that kind of stuff, right? But it was very pragmatic and obviously calling out the basic structure that we've been following. But we all know what he said. It's like, okay, we're going there.
I found it I don't know. I'm a fan of his. I love the idea of an economist running our country over the rhetoric
hmm
tossers. And even, it's not party for me because I didn't think that Justin Trudeau was doing what we needed to do for our country either. So it wasn't like I'm anti conservative or anti NDP and I'm pro liberal. I just really am for the leader that speaks most to my values and where I think, my one vote goes. And, in doing my research on Mark Carney and having listened to him in 2008 and 9 during the world economy crashing and Canada
hmm
surviving well, and
Yeah.
watching him sort of navigate, Brexit as the only non UK citizen to run that Bank of England. These are not insignificant roles. And the people that wanted to tear him down were like, he's making billions of dollars for a company. I'm like, well, I'd really love him to make billions of dollars for our country. That was kind of where my head was. And then this speech where he spoke to the tenor and uncertainty of this moment in a way that didn't sugarcoat it. He wasn't trying to spin it. He was like, this is a rift. This is the
hmm
reason why we're circumnavigating the globe trying to make deals with people in countries that we wouldn't typically pursue is because our trade has been upended. And he managed to do the entire speech without mentioning the United States nor Donald Trump, which I
hmm
thought was outstanding. The World Economic Forum. This is where all of the people get together who plan the strategies to make the world economy stronger in democratic spaces. Like this is what Davos, Switzerland is all about. And
Yeah. And it was basically a roadmap that he's our roadmap. And if
mhm,
you don't have to follow it, but this is our roadmap. And it's unusual to give a roadmap in these kind of that's not normal. But
correct.
here's what my plan is. Here's the plan for Canada. This is what we did out of the gate. We didn't bow to the pressure of that basically Europe did. We said, okay, I mean, that's kind of obviously with Trump, it's so unpredictable. You have to just
Yeah,
basically go, whatever, dude. Like,
exactly.
do your thing. I guess
Do
we'll
your
go do our
worst.
thing.
Yeah, you're already doing your worst every chance you can until it blows back at you and then you quietly fix it. Taco. But
Hmm.
how he ended his speech, Canada is open for business. I mean, I love that idea of letting people know on that massive stage and then watching the EU play catch up, right? Now they're like, oh, yeah, I'll have what he's having.
Yeah,
And they're
except the
talking
UK,
about,
except the
except
UK.
for the UK, but hey, Keir Starmer just landed in China, sitting down with Xi Jinping, going to make deals, you know. Donald Trump losing his mind because we've opened up Canadian markets to 40,000 EVs. The only reason we didn't have Chinese EVs before is because the US said, please don't do that. So it was 100% tariff. So we didn't bring in these vehicles. Well, he's trying to shut down our auto industry. We're going to buy those cheaper EVs to keep going here. And now we're learning that South Korea is making a deal to bring in some of their vehicles into
Hmm.
our country. So I think, I feel like we're like buckling up for making the best of what is, George, going to be a very difficult stretch. 3 more years of chaos making for sure, even if
Hmm.
there's a tsunami of blue in the midterms or whatever. I mean, we're a decade into this um, uncertainty with the U.S. president, and I think Canada as an entity, with the exception of people in Alberta who are hanging out with you in Mexico, um,
Not
are
everybody in
embracing.
Alberta, but
No, 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 no. For sure, not everybody. You know what
yeah,
I mean. There are a
yeah,
lot of loud people in Alberta saying no, 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 no.
yeah.
But the approval ratings, I don't know if you saw the polling that came out this morning.
Mm.
Carney's numbers from coast to coast to coast are up like 20, 30 point, like huge increases. Alberta down 5%.
Ha.
Okay,
His number. Uh,
his number, his
yeah.
number.
Mm.
And then, well, let's go to Premier David-Eby. So, first ministers meeting today, Thursday, as we head into what season are we here? It's
See,
UnSpun.
I believe we're season nine. We started in 2018. I don't know but it's our beginning of season nine. What's the math on that? Eight. Now we're in
18,
nine,
19,
right?
20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 9.
Season nine.
Yes, here we go. And I mean,
Crazy.
remember when, okay, remember when wood chippers at the legislature was what we talked about?
The good old days.
That was the good old days of where we started, George. Unbelievable. The little podcast that could. Anyway,
I
let's
think
talk
it's
about
good though that these first ministers, I think you said before the show that they're going to meet, they want to meet once a month in person.
in person
You
because
know,
it's the year of the
there's
CUSMA review, right?
yeah, but yeah, and it's very expensive, but I would say, and do they have to have all the flashy stuff? You know, you get a lot of done when you meet in person. I know we do our podcast. We started it in person. It was fun, but this is way easier. But
I know I used to have to drive across town to your office. I'm coming. I'm on my way. I'm on my
yeah,
way.
I know. Bring your
And I'm like,
dogs.
slip.
Yeah.
Yo, Calvin was a baby.
I know you peed on our floor.
He did.
Um, Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
So the thing is that you get shit get done and it gets done in in-person meetings, I think much more effectively. I think one of the challenges when you're a politician, uh, if you don't see each other face to face, you become like you start creating monsters of each other. Like you start, you base your decisions on stuff that's not really true. I mean, I was looking at
Right.
the premier of Quebec, and he was having a good laugh in those meetings, and I mean, he's leaving, but there's this casualness that creates, oh, you just are standing up for your province, and let's talk, and things are just seem more normal if you meet in person. I think like that.
It's the difference between honestly, wishing your buddies happy birthday by
Yeah,
text or actually getting together and having dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, it
We're
can
going
feel
to
like a
Mexico.
therapy. Yeah, it can feel like a therapy session, right? Like you're like, okay, we all saw each other. It was good to see you. It was good to get,
Yeah.
back into the old, like we fell right back into our old relationships or whatever.
Like our
I'm
Christmas drinks. Oh, wait.
terrible. We didn't make it this year.
You mean our New Year? I mean our Valentine's
Spring. Oh,
spring.
Valentine's. Yeah, I'm sure we'll just tell Brian and Amanda. George and I are just going out for our
Our
Valentine's
our
Day
Zoom
dinner.
partners, our Zoom wives and husbands.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the today is Thursday. Today the national convention for the Conservative Party starts. Tomorrow, so Friday, will be the leadership review vote on Pierre Poilievre.
Mhm. Will
And
it be like
only
the one that John Rustad had? 70% support? But that, yeah, you're going, really? I think it will be. He'll
yeah,
get the support, but it'll be like we got no other plan until there is another plan. So he I've
they
always
can't
said
flip the
this, I've
page
always
now.
said this since whatever, like last year, that his time is limited,
Yeah,
he can't, they don't want him, but they don't have a choice.
they sure don't. They sure don't
I mean, the
have a
polling is
choice.
terrible for him.
Yeah.
It's early, but this guy was supposed to win a year ago. He'd lost, and he lost his seat. And I think, yeah, I heard he mentioned he's not going to run in that riding again. I mean,
Really? I
I
hadn't
saw
heard
that
that.
somewhere. I'm like, really? Is
Oh,
that, yeah, maybe it was fake news. I don't know. But I'm like, the commitment, this it just, I don't know. I just think his days are numbered. It may not be tomorrow, but it'll be soon.
one thing I did hear, this is the time at this national convention for the Federal Conservative Party of Canada, is that they talk policy and what their policies will be moving forward. Makes sense at the convention. Everybody's together. What are we doing? What are we for? What are we against? They're looking to remove one line about access to abortion. I
Oh,
think that
boy.
is going to be grossly unpopular with women of all ages if the Conservative Party leans into that. They want to remove the DEI, the diversity, equity,
Mhm.
and inclusion, as well as access to abortions. I I was shocked to hear reporting of that this morning on the CBC News Network. So coming from very reputable, actually, no, excuse me, it was David Aiken on Global News who said, and he's in Calgary, and he said they are looking to remove the protection. And Pierre Poilievre, to be clear, ran on being pro-choice, like fully ran on
Mhm.
it. But it comes to that like lean to the right that is happening in Alberta, aligning with like the Trumpiest of things. Um, I
This is
don't.
why, 10 years ago, Obama was the president of the United States, and you would never, you thought, often people would say how oh, they've enlightened now, and then now here we are, where all this stuff's happening, including the abortion stuff, and it doesn't take much to turn people around into, and we talk about this, and the fake news and all that they call it, or whatever, but really it's about, if you go on Twitter right now, which I'm still on, and I think people should be active on there, who are
I'm
real,
on there.
yeah, and but a lot of people left. CBC is still not there. Come on.
Yeah.
You gotta be on these platforms where people are, or the bots do take over and the influence happens. You've got these massive conglomerates. You've got Elon Musk alone, and then you've got, you saw the inauguration, you saw the top five social media content companies represented there. I mean, look at
Bending the
Amazon's Melania movie is a disaster, but they still made it. Why?
$75 million they spent on this movie. I do love how every country around the world is posting how empty the theaters
I
are,
know.
that the ticket sales
That's
are
not,
zero.
it was like just a little gift from Amazon to the president. It's
Yeah.
terrible. Like, this is a
Disgusting.
relationship, our media, they own the Washington Post.
Yeah.
Uh, so, how can we have to be diligent in our consumption of media, ensure that
Yeah.
we're looking. I watch Fox News, I watch CNN, I watch
Me too.
CBC, I watch
I watch
BBC, I
ISMSN
I
now in there
read
as
this, I
well.
read that, yeah.
Yep, me too.
You
I
got to
follow
do
it
it
all.
all,
Yep.
because otherwise the influence of this movement that you're seeing will have its impact on Canada, and you'll see this perception of reality change, and then it becomes reality.
It's like suffocating truth, right? It just the walls come in and you say it enough times, people will be like, whatever, it's probably true.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not. And that's like watching things move. And you know what? I want to get to a couple of local things before we get deep into the US, because we got to talk about everything that's happening in the United States and using your voice. To your point about Twitter, I saw a stat this morning that of all of the users on social media platforms like Twitter and TikTok and um, Instagram, um, 38% are actual real people. The
Really?
rest, the rest is AI and chatbots and activated. So you got to keep in mind when somebody's coming at you on Twitter, block, ignore, mute, whatever. It
Mute.
doesn't matter. Use your voice. You see my Twitter all the time. I am like on it. I'm using my voice. I'm
You
standing
are
up. That's it.
prolific.
I am
Yes.
just doing it. I'm just doing it. I feel like it's the one thing I can do. And that was the message that I heard loudest. Do one thing. Start
Mhm.
somewhere. Push back somewhere. And I'm not going to go and, you know, cause a big kerfuffle, but I do want people to hear me. I do want people to
Yes.
hear what I know is factual. So I'm going to, people are like, I love your social media. And other people are like, ooh, I don't know about your social media. I'm like, okay,
Perfect.
good, good,
Perfect.
nice and
And
balanced.
the fact that, okay, it sucks that Elon Musk owns it,
It
but
does.
you know, but
Get
it's
around
just,
it.
but this is where people are getting most of their news now. Facebook, and
But I
certainly in
don't
Canada.
hashtag ice out, right? I don't need
Right.
to, because that's how those algorithms are kind of getting blocked. And if you mention Epstein on TikTok, it gets pushed
Well,
down. And
TikTok, you saw that they changed America's TikTok's dead, right?
yeah,
We can't see it because ours is still owned by China, the Chinese, whatever. The US one got bought last week, and
yeah,
suddenly everybody who a lot of these people, these political people that I can still see in Canada are now not being are have not you can't see
blocked
them in
out.
America.
Wild,
It's
wild.
just and that guess who owns that? I mean, the guy, anyways, it's just like
I know, I know. We've only got 14 minutes left of this
we haven't even
inaugural
started on local
voyage,
stuff.
which is, I want to get to the local stuff before we get all consumed with the stuff south of the border, because we here on Unspun podcast, we want to take things that are happening all over the world, all the noisy things, and take the spin out of it and apply it here locally. So that's why we're kind of dancing all over the place here. So if you're
Mhm.
new, welcome. Share us with your friends. We're here every week. We try and do it on Thursdays. Most weeks. We're pretty good, George. We're pretty good.
We have been, yes, very
We have
consistent.
been. Okay, so let's go with provincial politics here in British Columbia, because we did mention the First Minister's meetings and the fact that there's one today and there will be apparently one each month, while CUSMA, the Canada, U.S., Mexico free trade agreement, is under review. Donald Trump threatening that, all the threats around that, whatever. Um,
Hmm.
but David-Eby met with Prime Minister Mark Carney and Danielle Smith this earlier this week. So there seems to be conversations happening between the two neighboring provinces and our prime minister. Interestingly enough, though, yesterday, or was it this morning? I think it was reported this morning, so happened yesterday, that our premier, David-Eby, in reference to separatists in Alberta, called them treasonist. Like they're committing an act of treason by
Hmm.
wanting to actively separate from
Hmm.
Canada.
Hmm.
And it's an interesting stance for him to take. And I've also seen um, members of First Nations stepping up and saying, "Feel free to move, but this land is staying here." Like there's a lot more to it than "we're out of here." Like,
Yeah.
okay, what do you get of this separatist movement?
It's a protest vote mostly by the sounds of it, which is never good either. It's like the pro rep vote, like just, oh, I don't like the system because I didn't like who won last time, so I want to change it. So, I feel like it's doesn't have the chance to actually have an impact specifically related to the separation. It won't actually start that process because it probably won't pass. But it just starts that conversation in a really negative way. Look at Quebec over the years, up and down. We get like separate, not separate. It just creates this. Can we not just, we have a pretty cool country. And it's like America. Like, how prosperous do you want to be comparatively to other countries in the world? Canada is one of the most prosperous, safest,
Best
nicest
reputation.
places to live in the beautiful, like,
Yeah.
what exactly are you looking for? More pipelines? Is that really what, I mean, I agree. More pipelines, 100%,
Sure.
less trains going across in front of White Rock.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like,
Yeah.
come on. But is this really your solution? I mean, it's greed at a level that is just, I don't get it. And we as British Columbians certainly understand the feeling because we have a mountain range as well. It's the separation from Ottawa and the disconnect. I mean, I remember working in Prince George at CBC. I was sent up there when I started there, and I'd been working in Vancouver for about a year. And then they said, "Okay, can you go up and work in Prince George for the summer?" I said, "Sure, that sounds like fun." And I went up
Yeah.
there, and you definitely, even there, like the separation of my feeling of Vancouver not caring about us, like Vancouver head, the CBC office, and us, well, all the work we were doing up there, good work, good journalism, like it just felt like sometimes they didn't care. They like we didn't exist in their minds, and it was
Yeah.
frustrating. So you kind of get a sense of that. I kind of got the sense of that separation. I mean, we're spoiled if you live in the city of Vancouver when it comes to Canada, because we live, but if you live in outside the city and you live in the north and you feel like really separated from Ottawa, from Vancouver, that
Right.
that I don't
The
think,
elites.
yeah, and it's and it
Yeah.
it kind of exists, but it also I'm a big believer in like just get going on your own destiny, and life is not that complicated, and government's always going to be bloated. I hate big
Right.
government as well, but really, let's look at the big picture here. Come on, come on.
It goes back to what you were saying, like, how prosperous do you want to be? Because
Mhm.
anytime, like, that's why I look at you know, the naysayers, especially in this moment in this country, those who actively try to discredit with garbage propaganda our leaders in this moment. I'm like, can you focus all of your angst outward to the people that are actively coming for us as opposed to
Mhm.
internally right now? Like, of course we hold power to to all of the account that we possibly can, and we got to call out where, but to just like randomly throw rhetoric around that makes no Andrew Scheer comes to mind. Like every time he steps in front of a microphone and gets asked a question, he like turns it around. It's so
And yet
uh,
you've got Jason Kenney and Stephen Harper who are saying,
yeah,
"Okay, everybody, let's just work together here. This is not the
right.
time
Thank
to be
God.
separating. This is the time for unity because we already
Yes.
have a problem." But Americans and Alberta has always loved them. We all know they've always loved and admired America more than the rest of us, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
It's
I mean,
cowboy
I think
land.
in my childhood, my parents thought, I remember my dad saying, "Oh yeah, if America gave me $1 million, sure," because he wanted to go down to Palm Springs and hang out with. I mean, I don't know what their thinking was, but that definitely was the thinking when I was a kid, and I
Yeah.
was always like, "What?"
My
But
parents lived in the US for almost 30 years. I had legal alien status. I lived in California. My parents lived in California for 20 years and then they
ICE is
moved up to
coming for you.
Washington State. I know. Well, I did it legally.
Sure,
But because I
whatever.
was under 21. So my
All
mom
right.
became an American citizen. My stepdad was a dual citizen. He married my mom. First they moved to Australia, and then for business purposes because the tax system up here was so harsh that they're like, screw that, we're going to California. And they made a life for themselves there. And it was very interesting, always very interesting to see how different Canada and the US really are when you're living there. And both have their big upsides and both have their, downsides. I'm going back 30 years. You fast forward to now, and it's so polarizingly different. Like, and I feel
Well,
for the people in
and
the United States who are
you mentioned taxes.
horrified,
You mentioned
horrified.
taxes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the problem. As much as I hate taxes, you got to pay a little bit to the system and
yeah,
for your education so that your kids grow up with they're smart. They understand how to
yeah,
be analyze things and look at things. And if you don't have a proper education, proper parental leave, things like that don't exist in America because they don't want
it's
to pay for it. They
wild.
don't want to pay
Yeah.
for it together. Here in
But they
Canada,
want to make you have all the babies. You got to have all the
yeah,
babies. And
healthcare,
then we're not going to help you.
all these things we pay for as a team here in
Yeah.
Canada. And that
Caring for
if
your
you go
neighbor, really.
generation after generation and you don't do that, guess what happens? Things start to break. And that's what's happening in America. Years of underfunding schooling, of underfunding healthcare, of
Yeah.
underfunding social welfare, underfunding all that stuff has an impact. It's happening here too, the underfunding. We know that. We
Yeah.
need to turn that around. We've talked about that a lot. It's on a local level. Let's back to local because
Right.
we're almost done, but we have an election coming now. We got potentially another mayoral runner tomorrow. We got Pete Fry rumored to announce tomorrow.
More than rumored, I think, if you're on Facebook, because Shauna Sylvester, who ran for mayor how many cycles
2018.
ago?
Yeah.
right? 20, so almost a decade ago, um, posted on her Facebook page about, Pete Fry better not. I hear he's going to announce on Friday and la la la, and he shouldn't. He's going to split the vote on the left. And it was quite the significant. And I like Shauna. I've met her, I've interviewed her. She's very smart.
Hmm.
I was surprised by the post because it was so like, you better not. Okay.
Yeah, I saw
And
Pete's
then
response.
further down, Pete Fry's like, okay, with all due respect. And then went on to explain his reasoning. Obviously, we've known since before our winter break. We're like, it's just a matter of time.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
It's
what
good news
happened?
for, and she's not wrong. Her comments are not wrong in the fact that split the left. As long as the right stays united, as long as Ken can keep other people out of the race. Obviously, it looks like Colleen's going to run, but she caps out at 14,000 votes. She
Right.
can't seem to get beyond that. And all the elections she's run in as the leader, maybe she'll resonate this time. But generally, and she could be a spoiler.
So
But
Colleen Hardwick, for those of
Colleen
you who are like,
Hardwick, who
who?
ran
So
for
Colleen
mayor last
Hardwick,
time.
Rebecca Bly, Kareem Alum.
Yeah. So Korean,
Uh,
though, where is he on the spectrum? He's left as well, I would say, as far as I can tell. He's center right, center left in my mind, based on the things he's saying. He's liberal, but most of the things he's talking about are perceived as very Vision Vancouver, very left, center left.
right.
And you've got one
But there are
city,
those who remember
very
that he
left.
was Ken Sim's chief of staff, right?
Yeah, nobody. Yeah, maybe they'll
But
remember
there are
that.
people that won't listen enough. They're like, I remember him. Click.
I would be surprised if Rebecca's still on the running, and I would say that
Really?
Kareem's got some momentum with his candidates that he's announced. Another one yesterday with Victoria Young from who's school board chair,
Yep.
joining his team, and the park board person,
Scott
yep,
Jensen.
Scott Jensen. That's good. That's good momentum for him. That's bad. But Sean is not wrong. Splitting the vote on either side is bad. But why not get behind Pete Fry then? Like, why are you getting behind two people who haven't, which is Pete's point, and I agree with it. Here's a guy
Yep.
with two-term experience, and believe me, and frankly, it's the reason why I didn't run for mayor because I had 2 terms, and I was like, I gotta get out of here. You do 7, 8 years sitting in that chamber, and you're going, my life is too
Yeah.
short.
I don't want to do
That's
this. I
so.
keep having meetings with people, George, and I've told you this off camera, and I'll say it here. Have lost count of the number of meetings I've had with people who are asking me if I'm running for mayor.
Yes.
Are you serious right now? Like, are you serious right now? So then they're like, well, who should? And I always say George-Affleck.
Yeah.
I do. I
Yeah.
think you would make a great mayor. I do. And I
That's
think you
hard.
could come right down the middle on it and you could look at everybody and say, bring everybody you got, and I'm going to win because I want to fix this. I really
Well,
do. I
if
think you
I'm
could.
not saying I would run, but it's potentially if we have so many people running for mayor and they're all, and they're all doing their thing, somebody easily could come down the middle and just go, you know what, this is a mess. Like remember that
Please.
scene I call a scene.
It could be my idea.
Gordon
Yeah.
Gordon Wilson, remember that debate
Oh,
in
yeah.
2000 was it? I don't know, 1990, what year? 19,
Yeah, I
when was
don't.
that school? 1993, I think before. When that election where he said, "See, this is what I'm talking about."
Right. Because
And
everybody was like, la, 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 la,
yeah,
la, la, la. And he's like,
and he became the leader of the opposition. So,
so
things
you have
can
to make
happen in
me
politics.
give me your pinky swear. If you decide to run for mayor, you have to break the news on this podcast. Come on.
Okay. I'm
Yay, I got you.
probably not going to run, but
I'm going to keep working. George-Affleck for mayor. Let's go.
yeah.
Tell me in the comments. No, seriously, like how often have we had conversations on this podcast where we disagree completely on the subject matter and we find a way to explain it all through and there's movement this way or that way and it's not a yours or mine situation. It's like what's best for the community? What's best for well, it's supposed to be a 4-story building, but now it can be a 21-story building, so we're doing it 21. It's like, well, how about 12? Like it does for the community. Would 12 make more like whatever? Those conversations don't have to be as acrimonious and rude as they have become. When I listen to Ken Sim versus Colleen Hardwick last election cycle, was it? I think.
Mhm.
I mean, it
Yes.
was like, oh, neither, right? Where was the conversation here? There wasn't. It's like, we're going to close all public consultation. We're going to open up public consultation so nothing ever gets built. Neither of those things are right, right? George Affleck for mayor. We did not talk about this beforehand, by the way. I just threw that down with 15 seconds to go in this podcast. You can follow us along on your social media. Please follow us on Twitter. We're trying. We are at George
_
Affleck, at George _ Affleck, because it's cooler with an underscore in the middle, except for unless you're Jody-Vance, because then you're just Jody.
Or the other George Affleck, that 12-year-old kid in my mind, because he's probably 22 now, but who's got my name sitting on it.
George's.
Just sitting on it.
You can follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, blah, 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 such and such. But here, UnSpun Podcast, you can like and subscribe, tell your friends. We're here every week.
Try the veal.
See you later, George.
Bye-bye.